Hello to you again. This is going to be one last tutorial I do on this concept. So when we have a question like this, we all know it will end up to be a over x plus 2. And since we have a repeated denominator here, we have plus b over x minus 3 plus c over x minus 3 squared. Let me rewrite that. C over x minus 3 squared. Okay. So with this case, the approach is a bit different, but it's the same for our a. So with the first rule, we just try to make the denominator 0. So to make that 0, we just convert x to be what? Negative 2 and fix it into our left hand side. Okay. And in so doing, we just have to erase this out and fix our x equal to negative 2 into this equation, and we'll end up with our value for a. So in the end, we are going to have a to give us 3. Okay. So now let's see. Let me rewrite that back. So x plus 2. That's right. So when you have a repeated root, okay, when you have a repeated root, most of the times what we do is we try to apply our rule to the one with the highest power. So if this were to be power 3, we would have applied our rule to the highest power. But for here, our highest power is the square. So we try to make the denominator with the square 0. And how do we do that? We have to just convert this x into 3. So doing that, we come here and wrap this one out and insert x equal to 3 into this whole thing, excluding this denominator, and our answer is going to give us the value for c. Okay, it's going to give us the value for c, and it's going to give us 1. So at this point, we are left with the value for b. Okay, we are left with the value for b here. And the only thing we can do here is to find an arbitrary value for x. And since we know our value for a, our value for c, we can just insert a value for x, an arbitrary value. Let's say x equal to 1 or x equal to 0. But I like 0 because 0 simplifies things faster. So all we are going to do is substitute the value for 0 into everything, both our left hand side and our right hand side. Okay. And we are going to end up with 0 squared minus 15 times 0 plus 41 all over 0 plus 2 and 0 minus 3 squared, and it will be equal to to be equal to our a over 0 plus 2 plus our b over 0 minus 3 plus our c over 0 minus 3 squared. Okay, and simplifying it further, we're going to end up with this goes to 0, this goes to 0. So we end up with 41 over, we have 2, this 3 squared will give us 9. 9 times 2 gives us 18. And we know the value for a, right? So our a was 3. So we just have 3 over 2. And we also know the value for c. So the value for c was 1. Okay. And the 3 squared gives us what? The 3 squared gives us 9. Okay. So we have plus 1 over 9. So we just have to find the value for b. And upon simplification, we are just going to have b to be negative 2. And with this, you can find your ABC easily. Okay. So I'll just advise you to understand this shortcut very well, because if you don't understand, you end up confusing yourself in the exams hall. So practice with it as many times. After going the normal way, try to validate it with this shortcut and make sure you understand it. Okay. And I'll advise you to use it when you just have linear, denominators, or when you have repeating. Okay, when you have repeating to the power 2, because when it is to the third power, you might get confused. Okay, so when you have these two denominators, I advise you to use it. Okay, when it is a quadratic denominator, I beg you, don't apply this. Just use your comparing of coefficients. Okay, just expand everything and compare your coefficients, and you'll be fine. So thank you all. Bye bye.